Welcome back, everybody. Let's go ahead and begin our third literary movement in American literature with Romanticism. So we can see by the years here that we have moved past our Puritan foundings into federalism with the founding fathers of Washington, Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, and now we're moving through and up into the Civil War years. And of course, the Civil War always marks, the kind of splits American history. The first question we have to ask about Romanticism, how did it start? Second question, where? And third question, when? So now, let me go ahead and get my pointer going. There we go. So we can see where we are with the 13 colonies over here. There's South Carolina, everybody. Hey. Now, with the American Revolution, the three principal players, of course, were number one, 13 colonies, number two, Mother England, and then number three, the one not too many people know about and stop to think about, which is France. When the American Revolution was going on, the colonial army and the colonial militia was having a really, really tough time about it, mostly because the soldiers were untrained, and also the fact that the Navy at this time, it really wasn't robust. So Benjamin Franklin, who was, in addition to being the man of the Enlightenment for America, was a diplomat. And he was sent to France to get the French to join in the war on our side. Reason being is that France and England for hundreds of years had been enemies of each other, and they had been at war off and on for hundreds of years. So after a while, France said, yeah, we'll do it. So then what the French did, they sent officers over to train and advise the colonial militia as well as the colonial army. And they also sent much needed ships. So we have the French Navy over here and French officers. So then, after, the years going on, the colonial army, colonial militia, with the help of the French and the French Navy, they defeat the world superpower at the time, which was England. So then, the French go back home. And what they take with them are the ideas that came about during the Revolutionary War that we were studying when we read those different documents, like Letters from an American Farmer, the American Crisis, right? The Declaration of Independence. All those ideas they take back home. So they get back home, and over here in France, right? So their countrymen say, Jacques, what did you do over there? And Jacques says, oh, we helped them to defeat the British. And they're like, oh, okay, so how do they govern themselves? And Jacques says, they have this thing called democracy. And so they're like, what? Democracy? What's that? He said, they don't have kings and queens over there. And so the Frenchmen say, Jacques, tell us more. So what happens is that the American Revolution, right, these ideas of freedom and liberty, self-governance, self-defining, take root in France, and they result in the French Revolution. Now, the French Revolution was very, very bloody. You're probably familiar with it, the stories of the guillotine. This is when, if you were a royal, it was bad. You could have your head chopped off, and many royals did have their heads chopped off, including the Queen of France. Yes. Now, during this time, people started from England, started to travel to the continent and mosey their way very carefully down into France to learn about these ideas of liberty and self-definition and to pick up the flavor of revolution that was going on. And then they traveled back to England, and then they wrote about it. Then these different books, right? So these books took the form of lots of poetry as well as essays. Then these books traveled back to America. And then people read them, and this is what we call Romanticism. Now, a lot of people, when they hear the word Romanticism, all that they think about is this, romantic, like on Valentine's Day. And that is not the way to think about Romanticism. And I'm not saying that there's anything bad about Valentine's Day and being, romantic and nice to your significant other, your spouse. You should do that. But Romanticism is much more than that. So that's how Romanticism started. Where it came from, it makes a big loop, right? From where it started, it goes to France, travels across the English Channel, and then it comes back, it loops back around like a big boomerang. And when it started, the years after the Revolutionary War. And ideas at this time travel slower than they do now, because for these ideas, they really had to travel on boats in the form of books, because the telegraph hasn't happened yet. All these different ideas. Wow, really, really cool stuff. Enlightenment. Now we're going to move into Romanticism.